Right, hello. Apologies for the delayed start here, everyone. We're off to a delayed beginning to the presentation, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for taking the time to join us today and get introduced to the vLex Fastcase platform here. Now, we'll go ahead and begin with just an introduction to myself. My name is TJ. I'm a customer success representative with vLex. And my position as customer success is to ensure you as bar members get the most out of the platform as possible. I offer myself as a resource to you at any point, and I will be providing my contact information at the end of the presentation today, as well as our support team's contact information, so you can rest assured that any questions or feedback you have will be addressed timely. Now, going a little bit back into 2023, I wanted to provide a little bit of a background on vLex as well as Fastcase and how these two companies came together to provide what we're going to take a look at later on in the presentation. So I am very excited to introduce you to two trailblazing companies. Hopefully you've heard of at least Fastcase, but vLex, although these were companies that originate from different parts of the world, we share a common mission, and that is to democratize access to the law, and we aim to revolutionize how attorneys engage with legal information. Now, vLex was created in Spain back in 1998, and Fastcase here in the United States in 1999. But from the beginning, both companies recognized that the law should be accessible to everyone, and not just those with successful practices or deep pockets. And while their mission was aligned, the challenge still remained: how could we bring that vision to life? And the answer we found was in the heart of the legal community, our bar associations. And whether it's local, specialty, or state, bar associations are the unifying thread that connects attorneys across the globe. And by partnering with these associations, we found the perfect channel to reach legal professionals everywhere. Now, if you fast forward 25 years later, we have over 3 million attorneys worldwide with direct access to their country's legal resources, thanks to this strategic partnership. And this is where you as bar members come into the story. Our mission is not just about providing access, we want to empower you by putting the law directly in your hands. So today we invite you to become a part of that journey, a journey that started with a shared vision to democratize the law and continues with you at its center. And speaking of journeys, let's take a look at the agenda for today. We'll look at how you can gain access to the member benefit from the bar website. But then once we're in the platform, we'll look at the resource center. I'll highlight our search features, both the advanced and general searching. I'll also be covering some organizational tools throughout the platform in different areas, so you know where you can go to access those tools. And then we'll also take a look at the document level, get into a case and see if we can provide you with more tips and tricks and just general tools that you have available to you included in your plan. And then any questions you have. So any questions that come up during the presentation, feel free to go ahead and enter those at any point in the questions channel. However, I will be holding any answers to questions until the very end of the presentation today. So let's go ahead and jump over to the bar webpage here at Wyoming State Bar. So I'm already logged in as a CLE provider, but for you, it may look a little bit different, but the first step is just logging in. So logging into the benefit, and then you can explore some of the information for members by scrolling over and apologies, I have to refresh myself on where to go to find this information. Okay, sorry. So under member benefits, under practice in Wyoming, I apologize there. You can then scroll down to vLex Fastcase here at the bottom of that list to then access that. So again, once you've logged into the State Bar website, go to Practice in Wyoming dropdown, member benefits, and then you can scroll down to find that in vLex Fastcase there, and then you'll be able to click here to then go into vLex Fastcase into the new platform. Now, if it is your very first time logging in, you won't actually land right here on the home page that you can see. There will be a brief onboarding page, which just asks for your name and email address and a little bit about your practice area. And that's so we can customize the account to you specifically, the bar member. And I'll have to pause just one moment because I am missing a resource center here, so bear with me for just one moment. There we go. So apologies there. And this is actually what you'll see after, now that I've refreshed the page. Sometimes all it takes is a reload and you've got what you need here. So with the first step of onboarding, after you've entered your name and email address, it's going to ask a little bit about the jurisdictions of interest here. So for our example today, we can go down and just find Wyoming and select that as our jurisdiction of interest. And if it is your very first time logging in, once you've landed here on the home page, you can expand our resource center, and this actually may already be populated for you. But these are your suggested steps on how to begin your navigational journey in the platform. So we can go to our account settings to check out how you can customize that. You can start learning how to search in vLex. And we will be covering all of these today, so don't feel like you have to complete this checklist. You can easily hit the dismiss checklist button at the bottom of the page. Now, one new feature that we've added to our resource center here is our content explorer. So if you're interested in finding the other content that you can access through just vLex generally or through your specific plan, you can go to the US here and find all of the content that we offer. It's just going to open a new tab, but it's explore.vlex.com if you wanted to get there from searching on the web. But in the resource center, you can now access that information here. And then in addition to the first few guided tours, you'll also have access to some additional guided tours here. And then in my opinion, one of the best ways to self-educate and learn about the different features in the platform is going to be through our knowledge base website here. So when you open the knowledge base, you can generally search for information here. Maybe we're specifically interested in advanced searching. What we can do is use that search bar to type what we're looking to find out more about, and then it'll populate the most relevant article based off of our search. So for advanced searching, if we wanted to find out more about that, we can click on this article. And that'll open up our knowledge base webpage here at support.vlex.com if you wanted to just get there regularly through the web. But now that we've landed on the advanced search page, you'll notice that there is some written information as well as some screenshots and clips to help you better understand how to operate that specific feature. Now, even at the very bottom of this page, we do have a video walkthrough tutorial as well. So a great resource to expand your knowledge and understanding in the platform. Over on the left-hand side as well, I wanted to mention that there is a table of contents for you to explore all the other features right here on the knowledge base website. We'll go back to the platform here and continue on. Underneath knowledge base, we have some additional training sessions. So if you're interested in finding additional training materials and sessions to join, you can do so through this tab. Very similar to the training that we were conducting today, we have general overview webinars, which are an hour long, and they cover all of the getting started steps as we just covered, as well as the resource center and all of the general just introductory features of vLex Fastcase platform. Now we also have some advanced searching webinars, and these are shorter formats specifically targeted to help you become efficient searching in the platform. And then lastly, we have our upgrade webinars. This is an hour long, but this is a great place if you're interested in learning about Vincent AI or some of our other content that may not be included in your plan level. We do a great breakdown of what's included in the bar plans, but then what you can also upgrade in the vLex Fastcase platform. And a majority of that time is spent on the Vincent AI tool. So if you're interested in learning about that and seeing it in action, join us for one of these webinars. Now continuing on, under training sessions, we have some video tutorials linked down at the bottom here. And if we click into that, we will notice that there are some getting started video tutorials here and just more video links actually down at the bottom of this page. You can access our quick start videos. So this is a great showcase highlighting all of the different features in the vLex Fastcase platform in video format. But then we also have Vincent videos and all of our vLex videos that we have on our Vimeo page that you can access at any time here. Now underneath the resources here, we have some contact information. We want you to be able to get in contact with us if you have any questions or feedback or concerns. You can send us an email. You can find our support team's email address by clicking on the envelope there. It's the helpdesk-us@vlex.com email. And if you send us an email, a support team that's locally based here in the US will do their best to get back to you as soon as they possibly can with an answer or a solution to your problems, or just generally acknowledge your feedback. As I mentioned earlier, I am providing my personal contact information to you if you have any feedback as well, or just general navigational questions. Now, one last section here down at the very bottom, there is a chat feature that you can initiate right here in the platform. And this is going to connect you with our AI support chat. And that if you have like general questions about the platform, the AI tool can help with certain features and questions. However, if it cannot, it will direct you to our support team who will still be able to log into the chat conversation and help you with whatever it is that you need to find. So again, our resource center here, gonna kick off with some guided tours, help you navigate generally in the platform, get you a little bit more familiar with navigating in the platform and conducting certain features, but then all of our resources down at the bottom in our contact information. So we'll go ahead and minimize that now and move into the actual platform itself here. And I'm going to begin with some some information that's going to remain consistent no matter what page you navigate to in the platform. And that's going to be our left-hand navigational bar here and our top bar. So these two sections are going to remain present no matter where we go in the platform. Say we want to go to advanced search, you'll see you still have this left-hand menu and the top bar for you to continue searching or navigating to different sections of the platform. And I'll first explain these briefly, what sections these are, but I'll go into more details later on in the presentation. So currently we're on the home page. You'll notice it's highlighted here where you are currently. Underneath that, we have our Vincent AI tool. Now, I'm not going to cover Vincent AI in too much detail today, but that is a very powerful legal research tool, and you can actually start a free trial of Vincent AI if you wanted to. Then we have the advanced search feature. Great way to get really specific with your searching, get really granular. It's more of a form fill search, so we'll cover that in detail later on. But then browsing. So browsing is quite easy from the browse menu here. You can open this up and it'll ask how you want to get started browsing. You can either begin with a jurisdiction or jump right into the content libraries as well. So for example, maybe we're looking for Wyoming statutes. You can go to the statutes here, scroll down, find the most recent editions here, You'll notice I'm just generally filtering and browsing down into the additional sections once they open up. As long as it has an arrow here, you can continue to filter down into the specific categories until a certain point you'll meet the end of the road for browsing. And that is where you'll notice this icon. So anytime you're browsing through the sections and you come across an icon like this, if you click on this document, you'll then go to the document level or to a list of documents that falls under this criteria. So if you click on this statute here, you'll notice it will provide the nearby information, but then you can also just generally hit the back button on your browser to go right back to where you were browsing previously. And then under our browse, we have folders here, and I will go into more detail on folders later on, but this is where your organizational tools come into play, how you can remain efficient with your searching and accessing specific documents. Then a help button, very similar to our resource center here. We do provide you with a link to our knowledge base, as well as the ability to provide your feedback in a feedback survey if you wish to conduct that or complete that. And then lastly, another email address for our support team. So if you need to get in contact with them, you can reach them at helpdesk-us@vlex.com. Then lastly, on the left-hand side of our navigational menu is the logo. So we wanted to remind you all that you're receiving access to this platform because of your membership with the Wyoming State Bar. Now, underneath that is the plan level. So your specific plan with the Wyoming State Bar includes the vLex Fastcase United States Core Plan. And what that means is you have access to all 50 states' primary materials as well as federal primary materials, so cases, statutes, regulations, constitutions, etc. So a lot of documents, thousands of documents here that you can access in the platform. Now moving from the navigational menu into the top search bar here, we have a history icon. So similar to our Fastcase 7 platform, if you're familiar with that, but if you expand the history icon, you'll notice there is a date and timestamp of when you are accessing specific information. So you can easily jump right back into what you were searching at a different at a time in the future. Now, next to the history icon here is our general search bar. So with the general search bar, you can use everyday normal language to run a legal search here, but you can also use case names, citations, as well as advanced and Boolean operators here as well. And we'll get into more detail on how you can utilize those later on in the presentation. Now, next to the general search bar is our jurisdictional selector. So obviously an important aspect of your research, you want to make sure you're selecting the correct jurisdiction. If we expand on that, you'll notice it opens up a jurisdictional menu where we can easily select which jurisdiction we want to search within. Maybe we only practice in Wyoming. We only want to search within that jurisdiction. Or you can open it up to include related federal content as well. That's going to just select the federal courts as well as the appellate circuit. Now, to set a jurisdiction as a default, all you have to do is come in here and say we only wanted Wyoming as our default jurisdiction. We can just hit apply and save as default here, or we can use a one-off search to run this search as well. So for today's example, we're just going to search within the Wyoming jurisdiction here, and we'll hit apply. So you'll notice that changes from United States, which would be the default jurisdiction since you have access to all 50 states' materials and federal content. However, we can't update that to just include the Wyoming jurisdiction. Next to that is our search icon. So you can click on this with your mouse to run a search. However, you can also use your keyboard to type and enter the enter button on your keyboard to run a search as well. Then just another Vincent AI button, same as this one over here, just going to take you to the Vincent AI tool. And then your account drop-down menu. So under the account dropdown, you have a couple of options. You can adjust language settings here. You can manage your account broadly. You can also manage your alerts. So later on, we'll take a look at how you can create search specific alerts. So you can receive an email anytime new material is added to the platform that falls under that search criteria. But then under privacy and legal, we have included an additional level of security on the platform here, and that's the ability to stop history tracking. So if you did not want to track any of your searching for a specific session, you can turn that off. Now we also have just our terms and conditions and privacy policy for you to review here as well. And lastly, we do have the ability to return to Fastcase 7. So if you have any saved materials in Fastcase 7 platform, you can access that by returning to Fastcase 7. But since you are all here today, you're learning how to operate in the new platform, and that's good because eventually in the future we will be sunsetting the Fastcase platform. All right, so that takes us now into the home page. So I'm gonna break down the home page here, and then after that we'll get into how we can start searching and narrowing our search results in the platform. So to begin with, the home page, as you can see, again, I'm just highlighting where we are in the platform. But up at the very top of the home page, it's a little bit different from Fastcase 7. Fastcase had a search bar right in the middle. We've just moved our search bar up to the top of the page. But towards the top, we have these card sections here. And these cards are just a great way for us to push out notifications and make you aware of certain tools that you have access to, as well as maybe free trials. So for example, we're currently offering the ability to start a free trial, 3-day trial for Vincent AI if you want to take advantage of that. You can also test your knowledge in the platform. But then lastly, I wanted to highlight the vLex for Word plugin tool here because I do think it is a very useful tool, especially if you're using the Microsoft Word application to create any sort of legal documents or filings that has reference to citations on it. Going to be a great time saver. It'll allow you to link your citations from it within your Word document straight through to the authorities here on vLex. And this is really convenient because, maybe it's not a document that you're working on specifically, maybe a document someone else has sent you that has reference to citations that you're not familiar with. You can easily jump right into a primary law setting here in the platform to read about that from your Word document and expand your knowledge on that case. Now, underneath the cards here, we have a personalized news feed, and this is a great way to stay updated on certain things happening in your specific jurisdiction or your practice areas. And if we wanted to edit this, you can see right now all we have is Wyoming selected, and this is from when we first set up our account. So if you recall from when we first set things up earlier in the presentation, I selected Wyoming as my jurisdiction. But if you wanted to add additional topics or jurisdictions to your newsfeed, you can do so by clicking on the Edit Your vLex button here. Now, by clicking on Edit Your vLex, it's going to allow us to select other jurisdictions. Maybe we practice across state lines. We want to include other areas. We can do so. But you can also just generally type for practice areas. So maybe we're interested in environmental law. We can add that to our smart topics, or patent law. Easy enough to just use the sliders to add those to your smart topics categories. Now you do have the ability to receive daily or weekly digest emails with this news content. So if you wanted to receive those, make sure you select the appropriate settings based off of your preference. You can turn these off as well. Just make sure you hit update preferences down at the bottom. You'll notice after we've added additional smart topics here, we've gotten some newer content that falls underneath that category. And these work the same as on social media as well. So if you click on these, you'll have a list of news that falls under that specific topic. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some searching now in the platform, and we will begin with our general search bar up at the top of the page. And we're going to keep it very broad to begin with, so we'll begin our search with just a general phrase here. And you'll notice as I'm typing, it is providing me with some suggested search results, as well as some suggested documents that may fall under what I'm looking for. Now, the suggested searches are going to take you straight to the results page, where you can access a list of results that fall under this criteria. But then the documents are going to take you straight to the document level. But I don't see what I'm looking for here, so I'm going to continue typing. And we're just going to search statute of limitations generally in the Wyoming jurisdiction and see what type of content we can populate here. So right away, I wanted to highlight, we are on the results page. So this is your search results page. And first thing I wanted to highlight was the number of results that we've returned. You know, a little bit over 4,200 results. That's a lot more than I want to have to go through when I'm searching for specific content and related content to my topic. So let's start to break down how you can filter and search a little bit further in the platform, in the results page here. One way you can do that is searching in the results. So maybe out of these 4,200 results, we wanted to continue to narrow down even further because we know it has something to do with statute of limitations as a relevant result. But maybe we wanted to also add, you know, maybe asbestos here. So that drastically reduces our results. We went from 4,200 plus to just over 19 results. So a great way to really, you know, start to narrow your results to include specific terms. And if you don't add any operators here or Boolean operators or advanced operators, it's going to treat it as an AND search, as well as up here in the general search bar. So if we were to search this, this is just incorporating anything that includes statute and limitations and the word asbestos, not in any particular order, just as long as the document references these terms, it'll populate as a relevant search result. Now, continuing on and filtering, you can select the specific content libraries you want to search within. So maybe we're only particularly looking for cases that are related to this search topic. You can select cases here, or maybe it's just statutes that apply to this. You can easily select between the different content libraries, primary and secondary. And then continuing on filtering, over on the left-hand side, you do have the ability to update your jurisdiction. So maybe we wanted to change this for any reason. Maybe we wanted to include the related federal content that falls under that. It'll just include that updated jurisdiction here, but you can easily select and deselect which ones you don't want to find information in. And since we are highlighted on cases currently, it also allows us to add specific courts here as well. So maybe we only want to find information from the Wyoming Supreme Court. We can add that as a filter to then filter only that specific court and results from that court. But even more specific than that, we have cited authorities here. So you have a piece of a legal authority that you know you want to have included or cited to in your research. You can add those to the cited authorities categories so that you know any document that's populated will also be pulling or citing to that authority. And then lastly here on the left-hand side, with continuing on with our filtering, we have the ability to filter by date, and you can search for an exact date. If you didn't want to use the sliders down here at the bottom, you can use the search for exact date, which will allow you to search for an exact date or a range of dates as well. Then to get back to our timeline, if we wanted to do that, just click Show Timeline. And then you can use your mouse to slide these if you wanted to only capture specific date range material. And be careful whenever you're using the sliders, because as soon as you let go of your mouse click from the slider, it'll automatically update your results. All right, so we started with our statute of limitations search, just generally in the general search bar up at the top here, searching Wyoming jurisdiction. We've added a few things, so we've filtered into cases, specifically out of the Wyoming Supreme Court. And then even further than that, we've filtered anything outside of before November 1983. So we're capturing only the most recent content from November 1983 up to today. This is a great example for us to then, all right, well, what if we wanted to do even more? Maybe we wanted to get even more specific with our research. What we can do is take the search that we initiated from our general search and move that into an advanced search page. So rather than clicking on the advanced search tool here and starting from scratch, what we can do is scroll down to the very bottom of this page on the left-hand side, and we've got more search options in advanced search. So what this is going to do is take our search that we've already started on and migrate that over to an advanced search page. So let's go ahead and do that. So scrolling up to the top, I wanted to show you we are now on the advanced search page. We've got the advanced search tool highlighted here, and starting with our jurisdiction. So important aspect, you want to make sure you're searching within the correct places or jurisdictions. But then we have a content library selector. So now we can continue to, again, change this if we wanted to search for statutes specifically, or we wanted to search for cases. Now I'm going to skip over the word section for just one moment and come down to the bottom here. Since we have cases as our content library selected, we can see we have a few additional areas here where we can enter key information, like the date, maybe we have a case name, the court, again, if we wanted to add that specific information, and a few other fields for us to get really granular with our searching. Now this will change depending on the content library you have selected. So maybe we click on statutes here. That's just going to adjust to source and title. Now moving back to cases here, I want to then jump into the words section. But actually before I do that, I just want to mention you do not have to enter anything in this information here. It's not required to run a search from this page. Maybe for an example, you don't have to have anything really selected at all here. Let's go, and just for an example, I'm going to select just Wyoming as our jurisdiction. And I want to find all of the most recent cases that have been added to our platform without any filtering. I can do that from this advanced search page by selecting the jurisdiction, using the content library for what we want to find, and then run a search. So here we can now see all of the most recent content that's been added to our platform. We have things up to today that have been added. Then you can even search within these results, if you wanted to add a court specifically to filter into, but you can just use general search terms here, as we already saw from the search and results page, to filter into specific cases, as well as even sort. So right now it's by the most recent, but we can also sort by the oldest, most relevant, which would be nothing since we didn't search for anything, and then most cited. We'll go back to our advanced search page here. Just wanted to highlight that you could do that if you wanted to search for any of the most recent cases. But now getting into the words category. So with the words section, this is where you're going to start to use the form fill to help you get really granular with your research and find that specific content you want to locate in the platform. So with the words here, all the words operates the exact same as the general search bar if you're not adding any sort of special terms. It's an and search. So all the words are going to incorporate any terms that are entered into this section. So it'll search for statute and limitations. And as long as those two terms are populated somewhere in a document, it'll populate as a relevant search result. Now, going further than that, maybe we wanted to populate only the exact phrase statute of limitations. So this is a quotation search, if you're familiar with Boolean operators. So with this, it's only going to populate relevant search results that have the full exact phrase statute of limitations as we've typed it here. Now for this next section, the words in proximity, this is a great way to find nearby terms to certain other terms. Maybe we have a few terms that we want to find somewhere in the same area, but we're not sure if it's in the exact phrase. We could use those here. So wrongful and death, for example. That's going to allow you to search up to 20 terms, either before or after these terms, to make sure that they're nearby each other in a relevant search result. You can also use synonyms here. So this is an or search. So maybe you're not sure which exact term is being used to describe a certain event or something being discussed in a case. You could use gun and firearm here, and that would allow you to search either or of those terms and make sure either one of those is populated as a relevant search result. And then we have the exclusionary search here. So none of the words, that's going to omit specific terms from populating as a relevant result. Maybe we have the exact phrase statute of limitations, but we did not want to include the term tort from populating anywhere as a relevant search term. Great way to exclude information. Now, lastly is our advanced operators section. So once you've familiarized yourself with the advanced operators in the platform, which you can learn more about by hovering your mouse over this question mark here, you can fill out this section with those operators. So say we wanted to run this search, we could use the statute of limitations in quotations, followed by the word not, and then the word tort. And just to show you an example, this will actually capture, so if we use any of the above options, this will capture exactly how it's supposed to be structured if you wanted to run an identical search from the general search bar. So I'll show you what I mean by that. We'll run this search. You'll notice it updates my general search bar to recreate that advanced operator search. It does it here, and then it also does it at the top. But maybe we wanted to go back to the advanced search page. You'll notice that's now migrated from the above sections into the advanced operators category here. So now we can see exactly how this can be entered in the general search bar to duplicate this search. Now, lastly, here on the advanced search page, I wanted to highlight one additional tool, and that's the ability to save as an alert. So maybe you're really happy with this search string that you've just created, and you want it to stay up to date on anything that's added to our platform that falls under this criteria. What you can do is save that as an alert here. And I apologize, you can't see that because of our resource center, but it just says save as an alert here. And if you click on that tool or on that button, it'll turn green and let you know that alert has now been saved. And recalling from earlier in our training, we can go to our account drop-down menu and manage our alerts that we have created. So by going to the search alerts page, we can see the description of that search. And we've got our exact phrase search followed by the exclusionary, the jurisdiction, the content library, and when that was actually created. Now you can adjust some settings here for preference. You can edit this by clicking the pen and paper to then adjust this to receive those daily, only Monday through Friday, either once weekly or once monthly. And a couple of other fields here. You can even include the historical results. But then to delete this, maybe you didn't want to receive those anymore, you can just hit the delete button, which is the recycling bin next to that. All right, so we'll go back to our advanced search here. And I am going to use this, I'm going to adjust this just a little bit here. Statute of limitations and words in proximity, we're going to use the asbestos search. And we'll see what that can provide us with. So pretty good. I mean, we're down to 9 results. That's pretty specific. Now, let's start to break down some of the tools on the results page here. Now, next to the number of results, you have the ability to visualize the top 50 results, or in this case, the top 9 results, since there's only 9, not over 50, in a graph setting. But you can also add these to a folder. So maybe we wanted to add specific documents to a folder. We can select them by checking the box next to the case or document, and then clicking the Add to Folder button. That takes any of those that we had selected and adds them to the folder that we just made. You can also create an alert from this page as well. You don't have to be on the advanced search page. And then downloading. So you can choose to download your selected results, either the full document, or maybe we just want these top 9 results in a search listing. Maybe we have a partner that we're working with. We want to send them a place to get started searching about a specific topic. You can send them a list of these cases. Now, getting into the results that have populated here, it will sort by relevance. So that's going to be the default setting here. But as I mentioned earlier, you can adjust this to search the most recent, the oldest, or the most cited. And then into the documents that have populated here, wanted to highlight this case. Next to the case name, we have some treatment information. This is our Cert Citator tool. And this is a great time saver. So if you're looking at cases and it has an indicator next to it, be aware of that, whatever it's indicating. If you see a yellow indicator followed by distinguished, that just means that this case has been distinguished. It has some sort of positive treatment to it. And then you can expand this and find the case where that was considered distinguished and the other cases that cite to the case. So this is a positive example. However, you may come across a negative example. I don't have any in this example, but it would be, and let's actually just open it up to see if I can get, there we go. So here we've got a negative treatment type. We've got the red followed by a negative description here, vacated, reversed, overruled, abrogated. It'll change depending on what has happened. But if we expand on that, you'll notice where exactly we can find the information to learn more about that. Now going into the case itself here. Now that we're on the document level, so you'll see the case name or the document name up at the top. Again, if there's any sort of treatment information known, it'll be next to the case name there. But then we have the ability to search in this document. So very similar to the ability to search in the search results. If you have a rather large document and you don't want to read through that fully, you can search for specific key terms you want to pull out of that. For example, limitations, we just wanted to find where that was the term limitation or limitations is referenced throughout the document. It'll provide us with all of those different results and where we can then go straight to where that is in the passage. It provides a little bit of a background, so it's got the paragraph it's in, but then we can continue reading if we jump to the passage there. All right, so underneath the search in this document bar, we have our table of contents. Very easy to jump to different sections of the document. Maybe we're only interested in the dissenting opinion for this case. You can jump right down to Chief Justice Lehman's response here, or his opinion. And then jump right back to the top if we wanted to continue searching for other information. Now, speaking of information, the most important aspects of the case are going to be up here at the very top. So we've got our decision date, our citation, and any parallel citations that you have, the court that this case was heard in, the docket numbers, and even the party's information. Now, underneath that section, we have our case analysis here. Great way for you to find out a little bit about what's being discussed in this case if you weren't aware of it. Save you a little bit of time, provides you with the legal issue, some head notes, and even the key paragraphs and key phrases from within this document. So a great little tool, just say, well, am I on the right track? Is this the right document I should be looking at? Or is there another document out there that may answer this question a little bit better? And this is an example of how we're harnessing the powers of our AI tool. So the Vincent AI tool is providing you with this case analysis by going through the contents of this document and providing you with the summary here. And then getting into key paragraphs here, I just wanted to mention that you can turn these on and off. This will indicate as a light blue or a darker blue, a few different shades of blue highlighted throughout the document. So you'll notice here there's a light blue coloring to this section of the document. You can turn those on and off if you wish. You'll notice that if I turn them off, they'll actually, there's some bars over here on the right hand side of my screen that will appear and disappear. But the meaning of these different color, different shaded blue bars is the darker the color shade of blue means the more times that that specific paragraph or passage has been cited to in other cases. So for this example, we can click down to this section. That's going to take you to the very top is where that will land you. And you'll notice that I can actually click on this and it allows us to pull any subsequent quotations that reference that passage as well. So a great way to expand your research as well. Now getting into some of the organizational tools, you can left click and drag your mouse over a specific section of text in the document. And once we release our mouse click, it'll pop up a menu for you. It's going to ask you, do you want to make a highlight here? Do you want to make a note here? Or even copy with the citation? Maybe we want to make a note for ourselves. You'll notice that it changes to a turquoise color here, but then it also highlights all of your notes and highlights here underneath our table of contents. So anytime you come back to this document, you can pick up where you've left off. You'll have any notes you have saved here or any highlights that you've made in the document. Coming back to the top of the page here, I wanted to also highlight our tools and some more information, general information that you can access from the document level. Now, if you reference a document quite often, I would recommend saving that as a favorite so you can easily navigate to that without searching for it from your favorites folder or just adding it to a folder in general. So you can save it as a favorite or just generally add it to a commonly accessed folder or however you'd like to organize that for yourself. But we also have the ability to print the document. And recently we've pushed out a new update. You can now split this into dual column format to print if you'd wish. But we can also include our notes and highlights when we print the document as well. Then just generally sharing that out to an email, social media, or a public link to the page. And then downloading, we have the ability to download to PDF or to Word. Now moving into the middle section here, kind of in between the title of the document and the actual contents itself, we have a few different sections here. The cited authorities are exactly what you think they are, the cited authorities from within this case. So we would break this down by legislation and case law here. Doesn't look like there's any legislation being cited, so it would just be case law listed. And then we can also provide a list of cited other cases that are citing to the case that we're in. And then the precedent map, it's going to take these two sections and put them into a visual representation. So just quickly, the blue center circle here is our case, the Rawlinson v. BOPU case. And that means anything on the inside of this is going to be our cited authority information. So anything that's being cited in our document. And that means anything on the outside is going to be our cited in information. So any of those cases that are citing to this case. And as I showed you earlier, you can't click on these and then see exactly how they're citing to one another. Now, lastly, you have the ability to find related materials. This is another example of how we're harnessing the Vincent AI tool and providing that to you as part of your member benefit. That'll provide some nearby cases and information that's generally searching some of the same sort of content from within this document here that we're in. So just another way to expand your research and find other cases that may be discussing the same topics. All right, so lastly, I just wanted to highlight our folders here. Under folders, you have the ability to access your favorites, as I just highlighted. But you also have the ability to find any documents that you've made notes in. So if you've made a note in any of the documents, you can easily jump right back to that case and find more information about your notes. And then the folder we created earlier, you can create subfolders here. You can rename that or even delete that folder. So maybe we wanted to delete one specific document outside of this or in this folder. We can select the title, hit the delete button, and that'll move it to our trash folder. Now, maybe we mistakenly deleted that. We want to put it back in. Just go to your trash, find the title, and then hit the recycle button. That's going to move it right back to your demo folder or whatever folder it was in. All right, so I know we're a little bit short on time, but I did want to provide the opportunity to ask any questions you might have, as well as provide our contact information to you. So I'm going to highlight here our contact information. As I mentioned earlier, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We want to hear from you if you have any questions or concerns. You can reach us at the helpdesk-us@vlex.com address. And then our team is available Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Now, if you also wanted to find out more about how you can upgrade your account, you can reach out to our sales team at sales-fastcase@vlex.com, or just generally shoot me an email. I'd be happy to connect you with the best person on our team to discuss, setting up a demo or discussing and providing you with all of the upgrade options. But with that, I'll reserve the last few minutes here for any questions that you may have. And then we'll close it out right at the end of the hour.